G'day viewers, it's Michael here again and welcome back to Single Racer. And I have to say that I am very excited to present this two-part video to you. Now, you might not have that same excitement. I'm certainly hoping you enjoy it. But for people like myself and Alex, if Alex is watching, that it represents two videos from our sim racing past. It's like our history of early sim racing, in that I want to present two videos that feature mods that are essentially from the games GPLegends and GTLegends, and I want to recreate those two races. Now, in one case, in GTLegends, it'll actually be a group of mods, or like mod cars. So they're cars from or similar to GTLegends, but as a group. And in the second video, I want to present an older mod in that they're a group of cars again, but ones that I've shown off earlier, but on a newer mod track. Or I don't know how long the track has been around, but it's the first time I've ever raced on it. And so I'll be doing the introduction to both videos in this one, because the second video will just essentially be the race. But I want to show you both groups of cars and the track in relation to both videos. So let me show you the first set of cars. And this is because they're add-ons to previous cars done by Bazza. So the first group that I became aware of was what he called the original AC Legends, as you can see here, Assetto Corsa Legends, and were essentially the original group of cars to represent the old classic game GTLegends. Then he added a second group called Prototypes, and the prototype, one of the cars you can see here, and that is the second group. And when you add them into the Assetto Corsa folder, they will join together. So this is now the third group, which he calls the Trans Am cars, and they also join this final completed group, as you can see here. Plenty of cars to choose from, and you can pick and choose which group of cars you might like. Now, I'll have all three links to all three packs in the description, but let me show you specifically here the cars that are featured here. Now, here are the names of all the cars, and I'll just keep this showing for a little while, and I plan to race this group of cars on, to me, what is the most appropriate track, which is, in my eyes, Road America. And then in the second video, I'll be doing my favorite all-time, if I had to pick one car and one track that was my absolute favorite, arguably the most driven, if I don't count my go-to track, Nordschleifer. If I put that aside, before that it was the game GPLegends, and specifically the track Spa. So it's the old version of the track, and in Assetto Corsa it's called Spa 1966. So that will be the second video, and these two videos came out, or the recordings I should say, came out much better than I was even hoping for. So I'm very happy to present you with these two videos. So let me just do some housekeeping in regards to a couple of the negatives. Now, the negatives are generally in that, because I'll be racing the GPLegends on Spa 66, you have the same issue as you would here also with the GTLegends, where the AI are a bit, they tend to crash a lot and crash into each other and all that. But that's just, that's the normal cycle of what sim racing has to offer, especially in the first corner. I think everyone who's raced AI knows that in the first couple of corners, you've got to give them space and let them go. And, I did a few few resets on the recordings. So just keep that in mind always, that's always the case. Now, I will say, and it's not a knock on Bazza, because I think these mods, especially for GTLegends, are fantastic. But I do want to be honest and say that I think this third pack, called the Trans Am mods, are probably the least developed. And what I mean by that is there's a couple of cars that you look at on the picture here and you think, oh, that looks fantastic. Any one of these cars, and you go into it and maybe the hands aren't quite on the wheel properly, or they are real poor when the hand goes down to change the gear lever. It's just an unfortunate thing, you know. You've got to appreciate the work they put in this, and they just don't have the budgets that the big companies do to polish off those kinds of little things. So I certainly just turned a blind eye, because just to give me that feeling of racing an old game but in Assetto Corsa is worth it enough as it is. And now, one other thing that I wanted to mention in specific relation to the groups of cars is here are the GPLegends cars, which I've tested and driven many times before in my videos. But I'll be racing them on a new, I don't know if it's actually new, but it's the first time I've come across it, Spa 66. And it is exactly like I remember. The surroundings of the track are a bit different to the original GPLegends game, but the actual shape and everything is very, very reminiscent of that game. Absolutely fantastic. So to me, the ultimate combination is Spa 66 with the Lotus here, the Lotus Type 49. But I just wanted to stress, because both the Lotus here and the Ferrari 312 are proper Kunos cars, properly developed and everything. But just for this video, I'll be racing the Lotus in this group, and it's because Bazza made slight alterations to the car as far as sort of trying to make it like a uniform group, so kind of the same power and the same handling, as a group of cars, rather than me driving the Lotus from Kunos and just leaving them for dead. And in that final bit of info, I want to stress that I'll be driving the Lotus as default. There is an option in the Lotus to give you much more speed down the straights, but it's not going to make an entertaining video if I just put the gear ratios to maximum and leave all the other cars behind. So all the other cars are racing default, so it only makes sense that I race the Lotus as default, and that way it makes a much more entertaining group-filled, hopefully a group-filled race. So I hope you enjoy these two videos. This is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time, ×2, and let's go racing.